Have you ever sat quietly at the end of a long day and felt a wave of sadness or frustration you couldn't quite explain? Maybe the house feels too quiet. Maybe a familiar ache in your back has returned. Or maybe you just find yourself thinking more about the past than the present. These feelings are common, especially as we age. But what many people don't realize is that they often come from emotional traps, patterns of thinking and feeling that quietly weigh us down over time. You see, just like our bodies change with age, so do our minds and emotions. And while many people talk about physical health after 60, not enough talk about emotional health, how we handle change, grief, boredom, and even identity. But here's the truth. Emotional strength is just as important as physical strength, because how you feel inside shapes the way you move through each day, how much energy you have, how connected you feel to others, and how much joy you find in the simple things. In this video, we're having a heart-to-heart about 5 emotional traps that many seniors fall into, and more importantly, how to break free from them to feel lighter, happier, and more alive. Let's start with one of the most common, believing you're a burden. It often starts small. Maybe you need help carrying groceries or driving to a doctor's appointment. Maybe your kids or partner do more for you now than they used to. And slowly, you start feeling like you're in the way, like you're asking for too much. You might even catch yourself saying, "Don't worry about me," or "I don't want to bother anyone." But here's what I want you to hear clearly. Needing support does not make you a burden. It makes you human. Every person, at every age, needs help sometimes. Think about how many people you've helped over the years, how many rides you gave, meals you cooked, hands you held. That love and care doesn't disappear. It comes back around. Allowing others to support you now is not weakness. It's a quiet strength. It creates connection. It builds trust. It reminds the people who care about you that they're needed. 2. And if you struggle with this feeling, try this small shift. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry for needing help," say, "Thank you for helping me." It transforms guilt into gratitude, and gratitude builds bridges, not walls. Now let's talk about another trap, living too much in the past. Now don't get me wrong, memories are beautiful. They're treasures. They remind us of who we are, where we've been, and the people we've loved. But sometimes we get stuck in them. We spend more time looking backwards than we do looking forwards. And that can lead to a quiet sense of loss. Like the best parts of life are already behind us. But here's the truth. As long as you're breathing, life isn't finished giving to you. There are still sunsets to see, conversations to have, new hobbies to try, laughter to share, and love to feel. Yes, things have changed. People we loved may be gone. Certain abilities may have shifted. But there is still joy to be found in this moment. And there is still meaning to be created. One way to start shifting your focus from the past to the present is to ask yourself a simple question each morning. What's one small thing I can look forward to today? It could be watering your plants, calling an old friend, or enjoying your favorite snack in peace. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to remind you that this day, this one right here, is still worth living fully. Because you deserve to wake up with a sense of purpose. Not because of what you've done in the past, but because of who you still are and who you're still becoming. And with that, let's take a deep breath together and keep moving forward. Because the truth is, moving forward doesn't mean forgetting the past. It just means not letting it hold you back. And that brings us to another emotional trap that quietly creeps in after 60. Isolation disguised as independence. Now this one's tricky. Many people over 65 take pride in being self-sufficient. And that's a beautiful thing. There's strength in being able to manage your own life, keep your home in order, cook your meals, and take care of yourself. But sometimes, without even realizing it, independence turns into distance. We decline invitations. We stop reaching out. We think, "I don't want to bother them," or "They're probably busy." And slowly the days get quieter and a little lonelier. Human beings were never meant to go through life alone. We're wired for connection, for conversation, laughter, companionship. And while solitude can be peaceful, too much of it can quietly wear away at our happiness. The key isn't to become dependent, it's to allow space for connection. To realize that relationships don't make us weaker, they make us stronger. If it's been a while since you reached out to someone, start small. Call a neighbor. Send a voice message to a grandchild. Join a community group, even virtually. If you're religious or spiritual, maybe go back to a service. Or start a small weekly tradition, like coffee with a friend or a walk with someone you trust. The goal isn't to fill your calendar, it's to fill your spirit. And if you've been hurt in the past, if friendships have faded or people have disappointed you, that's okay too. Start again. There are people out there who would love your company, your stories, your wisdom, but they won't know unless you open the door just a little. Let's now talk about another trap that shows up more often than we admit. Bottling up emotions because I should be over this by now. Maybe it's grief that lingers longer than expected. Maybe it's anger or resentment you've carried for years. Maybe it's sadness that creeps in when no one's around. And too often, we tell ourselves to be quiet about it. We think we're supposed to be the strong one, or that talking about it won't change anything. But emotions are like water. If you bottle them up, they don't disappear. They build pressure, and eventually they spill over in ways we don't expect. Through health problems, mood swings, or a heavy kind of tiredness that coffee can't fix. Talking helps. Writing helps. Crying helps. Even just sitting with someone in silence helps. There's nothing weak about admitting that you're feeling something deeply. In fact, it takes courage. You've lived a long life. You've loved, lost, struggled, and triumphed. You've earned the right to feel everything you feel, so don't push it down. Let it rise. Let it speak. And then, slowly, let it go. One gentle practice you can try is this. When you feel a strong emotion, don't judge it. Just name it. This is sadness. This is anger. This is grief. Giving it a name gives it shape, and things with shape are easier to carry. And once it's named, ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? A walk? A conversation? A quiet cry? That's how healing begins. Not by pretending you're fine, but by being honest with yourself. You are not alone in what you feel, and you are not wrong for feeling it. You're simply human. And the more you allow your heart to speak, the freer it becomes. So let's keep listening, gently and patiently. Because emotional strength doesn't come from having it all together. It comes from showing up each day as you are with an open heart and a willingness to grow. And when we talk about growing emotionally, we can't ignore one more trap that quietly steals happiness as the years go by. Believing it's too late to start something new. This one sneaks in so subtly. Maybe you've had a lifelong dream, writing a book, learning to paint, planting a garden, even falling in love again. But somewhere along the way, a quiet voice in your head started whispering, you missed your chance. Maybe that voice says you're too old, or it's too late, or the time for those things has passed. But here's what I want you to remember with your whole heart. If you woke up today, it's not too late. As long as you're breathing, there is still something beautiful left for you in this life. Some of the most meaningful experiences, real joy, deep love, powerful purpose, they don't belong to the young. They belong to the willing. You don't need to start a business or climb a mountain. You just need to say yes to something new, even if it's small. Say yes to curiosity. Say yes to joy. Say yes to trying something that makes you feel alive again. I've seen people in their 80s take up painting for the first time. Others start a walking club in their community. Some write their life stories to leave behind for their grandchildren. Every single one of them said the same thing afterward. I wish I had started sooner. But you know what? They were still glad they started. You're not too old to feel inspired. You're not too old to learn. You're not too old to heal. And you're definitely not too old to matter. Because the truth is, your story is still unfolding. And how it ends? That part is still being written. Let's also be honest. Our culture doesn't always make it easy. Sometimes the world treats aging like a decline. But aging isn't a falling, it's a ripening. Your wisdom has depth now, your laughter has earned its lines, and your time is far too precious to be spent doubting yourself. So if there's something tugging at your heart, a letter you want to write, a skill you want to learn, a person you want to reach out to, do it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. This is the perfect moment. And finally, let's talk about the emotional trap that often hides in plain sight. Comparing your life to others, especially to who you used to be. It's so easy to do. Maybe you scroll through social media and see smiling families, world travelers, or people your age who seem to have it all figured out. Or maybe you think back to the version of you that used to move faster, look different, or juggle a dozen responsibilities without missing a beat, and somewhere inside, you start to feel less than. But comparison is a thief. It steals your peace. It steals your pride. And it blinds you to the beauty of your own path. You are not meant to live someone else's story. You are meant to live yours, and you've already lived so much of it with courage, grace, and strength. Your wrinkles, they're maps of laughter and tears. Your slower pace, it's the rhythm of wisdom, not weakness. Let today be a turning point. Instead of comparing your life, celebrate it. Write down what you've overcome, what you've created, who you've helped, what you've survived. There's power in realizing how far you've already come, and hope in knowing there's more ahead. You're not here to compete. You're here to connect, to feel, to live a life that's meaningful to you. So breathe that in for a moment. This isn't the end. This is a new chapter. And you, my friend, still have something extraordinary left to give.